started here, so we're not here all night. I don't plan on being here all night. So I'm looking at this more of like directional meeting that, topics that we had. Not that we're gonna, you know, what's important, what direction we need to recommend back to the full mission, things that we see that are important. So there was a couple things I listed in the email that went out, but the top thing right now, short term, is we need to find a new attorney. I don't know, does anybody need a copy of the draft? I don't know if we passed it out or printed it out or not, but, so this was developed. I read through it, it seemed to be pretty much what we need. The main thing is put that out there so we can start getting resumes in. Ryan, as far as we know, we're waiting for this to actually do the posting.
Yeah, with your guys' approval, I'll give it to Justin and have Justin get it up on Indeed and on our county website. So when it gets posted, it won't look exactly like this as he feeds it into the
Right.
application.
And so in this meeting, you're just
Just
going
visual
to kind of review.
review and see if there's anything that we're glaringly missing
And
or
then
that needs to be added.
Yeah, and then that would be presented to the full APC, correct?
I think we need to get the notice out there now. Because we're not gonna be able to take any actions till we get resumes in and sets up interviews. It's not like we're gonna be,
It's really
Hiring.
your timeline,
to get the timeline.
getting applications in, getting your guys' interviews done. With Kyle being gone at the end of March. So you're looking at April 1st.
We need something.
We either
We should
keep
be,
Kyle on or we're without an attorney until we like.
Yeah, I think the first thing we need to do is kind of get an understanding of what the function of this board is. It was my understanding, that we have. So unfortunately, it's been used in different capacities with different leaderships at different times. You know, where the actual rules of the role of this board, I don't think they're necessarily defined in Indiana code. Now, what are they defined in the Grant County code? As to what decisions this board can make?
To set precedents for the last 20 years, it's like you said, it's been this is basically in state code, some things that are timely.
Okay,
This commission can make decisions for the plan commission, but only on certain things and not things that would require a public hearing.
so see, that's my understanding. If we are into a situation that's absolutely time sensitive,
Right.
critical, that we can't wait to collect the whole board, then we have the right to do that, but we need to be able to defend that was the situation when we go back to that board, if we don't ask that board for approval prior to coming to this meeting. Does everybody agree with that?
Yeah, and something else, I mean, I was just in a board meeting today and a gentleman came in from the state, in this particular not-for-profit board meeting. And he more or less said, you know, if the executive board decides everything, then why have a full board? Right? And so I hear what you're saying. And my understanding is I think in this particular case was the fact that we do need to take action fairly quick. Not to say who we're gonna hire, but if we can go ahead and put it out there that we are looking, it would help us expedite the need for the attorney and get one before we do lose Kyle. I don't know, I don't know if Kyle is willing to stay on. He probably is, I would think. But in the same token, he's kind of given us a little bit of a time frame.
See,
So-
interviews have to be public also.
No.
Part of your executive session is.
That'll be done in executive session.
Personnel.
That's personnel matters. So, yeah,
There may be something out there that's contrary to that, and I will locate that and I'll let you know if that's the case, but,
now the actual hiring should be done in a public meeting. Right, so let's say we have,
there's some discrepancy about that. So we need to get that cleared up.
But I kind of agree with you, Randy. I mean, if everybody isn't involved in the process, how do they know which attorney that they would want to hire?
Yes, I
Well,
see.
yeah.
I think on this particular thing, I think what we're doing is more or less just saying, can we go ahead and send out the information to attorneys?
I agree
and
with
things
that.
like that.
yeah, this is
But
just
when
to
it
get,
comes-
to get resumes in.
I agree with that.
And
I think we
honestly,
can make that decision.
And again, I may be wrong, But I would feel comfortable with everybody being, in the interview
Right.
process.
So, yes, so like when we,
That makes sense.
when we hire Kyle,
I think the interview process
yes,
has to be done in an open meeting, but we'll work on that after we get past this. We got to get it posted first.
right, right. And so I don't know, I read through it, it seemed good to me. And I know Kyle reviewed it, and he didn't make any comments back, as far as I know, as saying, well, you probably need to bring this or that. Do we have somebody in the county that's capable of doing this? I guess we're gonna find out.
That's gonna be our challenge for the $12,000.
Yeah, and that's an issue. 12,000, you know, what all I see Kyle doing, not only for, this board, but also your department. I mean, I don't know where we're gonna find another attorney for $12,000. I just don't.
Well, that may,
Well, I think what'll happen is if they don't have enough money, when they run out, they'll just come back and ask the council
Right.
for more money, and they'll just give them more money to do that. Then this, what we got a budget, in what, July or August, we
Then we'll
start,
be looking at for 24.
then we'll know
Yeah.
where we're at to rebudget for next year.
Yep.
yes,
Yep.
if
So the $12,000, if we're short of that,
I would say you're right,
So you
because
as a
if we
council-
find somebody and says, why can't do?
well, the council told them before that they
That's,
run
you
out
know.
to come back and,
Okay.
but use their 12,000 first.
I had hoped to be able to meet with Nicole just to kind of get a better understanding of what she uses as an attorney for it. Unfortunately, that didn't happen, and I'd still like to do that at some point. Do you feel that everything on here covers her needs? Has she
Yeah.
had any input in this?
No.
Okay,
She didn't. We're running right now. We're barely seeing each other.
would it be safe to say that Nicole's use of the attorney is of a greater,
Yeah, she will use the attorney more than anyone.
okay. It's also talking to people in the past, somebody was, whoever Nicole's role was a couple back, maybe, was doing a good job, that they were kind of taking care of some of the things maybe that Kyle is doing now for Nicole. Is that capable that Nicole could pick up more of those things that aren't necessarily a legal requirement by a certified attorney?
I think she's still doing a lot of that.
Okay,
And my defense of that would be 21 demolitions in 2 years versus 21 demolitions in 15 years. It's kind of the difference with the way we're doing it now as opposed to the past.
okay. Is that whatever's filed with the court, and I don't know, that's why I'm asking these questions. Whatever's filed with the court, is that in a template type thing that?
Yeah.
Yeah, so we
Yeah.
can,
She's got different templates. She'll put them together. She'll send them over. Kyle will do his legalese to it. And a lot of times we get it filed. And Kyle goes with us.
okay.
Yeah, I mean,
Because I think it's gonna be important that whoever we interview is gonna be asking those same questions.
Absolutely.
What are you expecting me to do? How much time are you expecting me to put in?
Right.
You know,
and this with Nicole, I mean, right now, our goal is to get her, once we get a full staff and we're up and running again. Goal is to get her out of the office at least 50% of the time. Her complaints and her cases, I mean, she was running around 100 cases before we got Grace back in. That's actual in-court filed cases. She's up to, I believe, 140 some at this point, so, we want to run, Bob used to run like
147 this year?
that we've got in court.
And
that we're
that are on the
pressuring
books being gentlemen.
Okay,
with Grace coming in and helping out to take a lot of that paperwork like Brenda used to do. Try to free Nicole up. Nicole could easily have 250 cases, 250 cases, just depends how often she gets out. Right now, if she's out once a month, she's out updating her cases, and then she comes back and types for 2 weeks. And goes out for a day, updates cases and kind of, So our goal is to have our code enforcement officer out in the actual field more than she's sitting at her desk doing paperwork.
right.
That's why I've got
So that's
Yeah, you got 250 in that.
gentlemen.
where Grace can come in.
Mhm.
But then we lost a permits clerk for 2 months, so that didn't happen. Now we've lost Erin, so she's out doing building inspection. So we just haven't had that full staff to really get it
Are we under any time requirements, so to speak, to meet these that's on the list from the time they are on the list to the time we get a peek at them?
Yeah, a lot of them, we go to court, they've got 30 days, 60 days, 90 days. Now, if we can get back in that time, sometimes it's lucky just depending on business. There's times we give them 30 days and we're lucky to get back in 60. And again, a lot of that just has to do with, right, with having to cover Aaron or, again, we've had record years for permits, record years for inspections, record years for demos. So we're doing a great job there, but the more I can get Grace trained, the more she can get done, the more Nicole can get out. Problem with that is the more Nicole gets out, the more complaints we can take care of, the more cases we get.
Do we have a log of how many hours that we are in contact with Kyle on a weekly basis? And I'll share the same thing I think I shared with the council and at Eastbrook, we'd had Arden and Ann Sabrowski for years and years and years on contract. And they ended up deciding that it was going to go on an as-needed basis, that we would pay an hourly rate. They didn't necessarily have to come to the meetings, that sort of thing. If we can't meet the $12,000,
We blow that. If he charged us $20 an hour, we blow $1,000 a month out of it. And quite easily.
I mean, obviously,
An hour for an attorney.
I mean, with the issues we got going on in this county right now, it's probably good to have somebody that can at least, we can look at.
Yeah,
Go like that too.
yeah.
Hopefully we get an answer. Yeah, okay.
And she's ready. I mean, whenever we can figure out a time.
Yeah, I'd like to still sit down and, I think that's important that we show some interest in what she's doing.
Yeah, She has everything ready whenever you guys. can
Okay.
put the contract down.
It's raining. I may try and make that happen.
We got tomorrow.
So if we're good with this draft,
So are you,
I'm thinking we just give
a
this,
consensus?
give this to Justin, who's the resource officer for Grant County, get it posted out on Indeed. So if we're good with that, then we just need this kind of like, what is our time frame? So,
School business, we gotta post it for 10 days. How many?
yeah. So I'm thinking I think we could post it till the first part of next month, not too far into next month. And have interviews lined up towards the end of the month. Hopefully maybe have a recommendation at that next meeting. Then we need to figure out, so that would be the timeline
So would we call a special session
for interviews.
for interviews?
Yes.
With the entire board?
Now, what we did when we hired Kyle, I had it open to everybody on them. Anybody could come.
Good.
And I think Ed was there, our brain DPA. And of course, there's a liaison on the board. BZA.
Yeah.
So they have that. Yes, so we set times. Then,
I think we need to get this clarified as to whether that has to be open or not. It has to be open to the public.
well, we could have
Not that
time.
anybody-
I think the personnel.
Personnel, you gotta think private, because you don't want an attorney sitting there that maybe has, outside things they don't want to know. Or,
Okay.
so that's my opinion, yeah. I know in the
What
past,
we've got is an executive session with all members.
yeah, I'll be in executive session with all members that want to hopefully show up or,
I can't, for all the hiring I've ever did, I've never thought about public.
So
Even
the
back
interviews
when
will be
I,
with an
Yeah.
executive session
Yeah.
of entire board.
right, and then we'll invite Ed, which I think in the last meeting was Ed, or, yeah, in the past it's happened. Somebody from,
Well, I think Ed needs to be there.
right, because I mean, this attorney
Yeah,
also
usually-
represents that group too, so.
As I think Nicole should be there.
yeah, I would ask that Nicole and I be there, because we're the two that's gonna use the most. We may have the questions that are needed.
Well, yeah,
right.
If I recall on the last one too, we had Justin there. He is our human resource and he's the one that lines up, getting interviews scheduled and things like that. I mean, it's great. It's resource. He don't want me to be calling us and can we Justin, that's his job. That's what he's trained to do. He does an excellent job. And, so then he usually just sits in. He may pipe in if he sees something, but it'd be our show, so to speak.
Okay, so executive session,
That's what
entire
we're-
board with Ed, Nicole, Ryan, and
Yes,
Justin.
has it still get 40.
Anybody else?
Yeah,
Ed, Nicole, Ryan, Justin? Full board?
it'd be the whole, yeah.
So
And well, I would say yes, it should be the whole board should have opportunity to come. I mean, they could, in our big meeting said, no, let's just let the executive session in it and bring it back to us.
And that would. be
Because,
fine.
and that, if that's what they want, if the pleasure of the board would want that. Because sometimes when you get so, but I would like to hear who's out there.
I think we need to be forward thinking enough that if this group's gonna meet and we're gonna talk about things, the whole board needs to know that we're gonna do that. I think we need their consent to do that unless
Right.
it's just an absolute crisis that
Right.
cannot wait until notification. Now, if they want to agree to that by email or they want to agree to that by a meeting, I think the board needs to decide how they want to use us rather than us decide how we want to use ourselves.
I would say with the 2/3 vote that we've already taken, that we've already okayed this commission to honor
But under what terms, under what issues, under what,
state code. Basically, they can discuss, it takes one dissension to take it back to the whole board, but they cannot make decisions on anything that would require a public hearing.
okay, I think we need to propose that to them. Because, as I questioned or I asked you earlier, what that 2/3 in the Indiana code, it named, rules of procedure. And you sent me a list of rules of procedure.
Right.
Okay, and that was pretty lengthy, and I didn't get my reading assignment done like I told you it was gonna get done. But, I think we need to better understand that. I'm just trying to save us.
Well,
people.
the better stuff, the better.
I'm in.
Because I did read through rules and procedures and it talked about executive session. It didn't really talk about this type of meeting. So maybe it should be spelled out a little better in our rules and procedures. So that's what's,
Again, Dr. Bothwell
Right.
is working on a version 2. What I've been working on, it's basically the Indiana code
well, that's
that
ideally what
defines,
we should be doing.
it's got what we've got, but it's also got the rest of the Indiana code to it that talks about, in timely fashion, make any decisions with one dissenting vote can be taken back to. That's, it goes from this to this. And it's just basically word for word. But it says, instead of saying unit, it says the ABC shop.
I just like to have it proposed to the whole board. We've got enough new members on the board. Right, do you agree?
Yes.
So time wise,
Okay, so this is February, so if we get it posted within the next few days, that we're taking resumes.
For at least 10 days.
Well, I would think we need, so today is what,
You know,
22nd?
almost been out here.
if we figure we get it up and running, we've got the week of the 27th. Then
6th,
the week of the 6th.
maybe even into the 13th, around the 15th.
Uh,
And then start lining up interviews in either the 20th week or the 27th week.
Next meeting is April 3rd.
Yes.
So if we had them in by the 13th, you could do special meeting or executive session on the 20th.
Mondays
That
work better.
give you a week to look at what you've got
And line up interviews, seeing how many we get. We have to do one day, we may have to do 2 days.
Right.
Depending on how many people.
that gives you a little cushion in between.
Right.
How wide will this posting go?
It'd be on Indeed and on Grant County website. So Indeed would be everywhere.
Now, I don't know, within the local attorneys circle, is there ways to get things posted?
I think I'd search that.
Yeah,
I was
because
thinking
I'm
it's
sure we
important
would
to
probably
school.
want to try to stay
We got
local.
links to get to
Yeah.
draw school people.
Right. So yeah, I probably need to get into local firms.
And what day were we discussing for the executive, and we would be the whole board?
Right.
But what date, what's that again, Brian?
Around March 20th, that week.
20th?
That's a Monday.
Absent by the 13th
Yep, absent by the 13th.
and look to have, an executive session on the 20th.
On the 20th.
Yep, and then they may need more than that. I mean,
Executive session 20th.
On the 20th.
March
And-
20th?
and then maybe nothing, casual discussion, and then when we make some type of decision at the open meeting. I mean, we may, him and all say, guy, this is where we want to go, but can't really do anything till the real meeting.
Again, it gives, once you guys make a decision, it still gives a little time before the 3rd. And if we hire someone, or they, gives us a little cushion there to not say, hey, you're hired, and be here tomorrow at 6.
Is there a specific application for this job?
Yeah, that would go through, it's gonna start with this. Go through all the county,
Those resumes, asking for
Yeah.
resumes, basically,
yeah.
resumes. At that position.
Randy, I would be interested in anything that you can bring from the school side. See some things that, you guys are pretty formal as well, right? Right? I would be.
Every parent is our judge.
Right, that's right. I would be interested to see anything like that, a hiring practice or anything like that. If you think that would be good for us to see.
Well, schools went to the collaborative approach. I mean, we would form a team of bus drivers, cooks, I mean, we would bring a collaborative effort in any entity that was gonna be involved with that particular individual, we tried to sit them at the table. I don't know that, I don't know if we could pull that off here, but yeah.
Well, we got the interest, we got us, we got BZA.
I would say that would be about
We got
this
office
board
involved.
here
Yeah.
because we got a commissioner, we got a council,
Right.
BZA and APC,
Yeah, I mean, pretty much everything's represented.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
this,
cross section,
I think it's here, we should do maybe, if we have several applications, maybe we ought to do them and maybe weed it down to 3 or 4 before the whole
that might be.
body sees it.
Yeah.
Because you're gonna have some that may not want, you gotta know what they're gonna, willing to do it for.
Mhm.
And that's gonna be consideration. But
Just
yeah,
open at $12,000, we get at least a handful. I mean, that's,
I'm afraid you won't even get one.
because I spoke with an
I
attorney
just-
the other
it's
day.
they
and
don't
she said
have that.
She was interested until she found out how much it was paying.
Oh, yeah.
And she heard about how our meetings have been going. She said that would just cause more work, and at the end, it was not worth the 12,000. So I'm really hoping we can pull something in before then, or we're gonna be in a pinch then,
And again, we're just one entity of this. You guys, it's the day-to-day operation. We gotta
Like I
make sure
said,
you're covered.
I just tell you, the office is disappointed to be losing Kyle. We were disappointed to lose Bruce.
Is Bruce, he left town, didn't he?
I saw Bruce, I asked Bruce if he was looking.
Came across
He
my
laughed,
mind.
got on the elevator to their house.
Uh,
But,
Yeah.
Kyle's been great. Bruce was great with us. I mean, it's that comfort versus the unknown. With Kyle, if I need him, I know, okay, when you get a chance, he's probably gonna call me in the next 15 minutes. In most cases.
it's right there.
Yeah, I can almost wave at him out the window, but
Your budget exhausted to the point you can't throw any more at it, right?
well, right now, we can transfer some around. Well, I'm gonna say we've had Aaron off for 2 months, so right there is, getting into another subject, right there is a lot of money that we didn't spend. But with Aaron's situation, if all charges get
Well,
dropped.
that's an executive session. I really should discuss.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Okay.
We'll
There's,
get to that.
I mean,
But
we're-
yes,
so right now, you'd have to guess what we're not gonna spend the rest of the year to add thousands.
Have you ever had overage?
Yeah, I can actually even tell you.
Give it back to council?
It goes back to general fund.
It does.
But we've had, and we've had, a lot of this had was transitions in positions. When Brenda was interim director, and, we gave, 2019, we gave back 12,000. 2020, was when we went through transitions for building inspector and direct, or not 21. And we had 20,000 we gave back then, 2021, we gave back 11.
And that does not include the demolition fund. That's,
Yeah, that's, unsafe structure is pretty separate.
So do you dare put 12 to 13,000 potentially negotiable? See how, if you get
Well,
somebody to bite?
we want to get apps here. We need to,
I think
you
you'll
almost
have
got,
to do more than that.
I
You're gonna
think
be
you gotta
14
sweep
or
it
better.
right away. I mean,
Yeah.
if we could, I mean, personally, that's just my own personal opinion.
You could
We're all
let
gonna
you
have
say
to
maybe
You know,
well,
said
like
it wasn't worth
13
even applying.
or somehow.
I don't know, I
based
don't know
on
if it's getting by.
Ryan, you're down to about 119.17 now. on-
Oh, recording.
Yeah. If there's not someone on there, it tightens itself out.
Okay, just let you know.
Okay, so that would, we do need to know, we're probably gonna have to, most likely, but do what, because do we advertise the range in there, don't we? Yep. So maybe it somehow can be negotiated or maybe based on experience or.
Well, I think that's where it's gonna be important, if we could really tell these people what, you know, expected and what we think their services are gonna be.
Right. Yeah, we got a good deal. Well, we've had a good deal because they've been tied to the county, like Pyle's already getting a chunk out of the commission. But this is coming in freestanding, so to
So
speak.
this past year, we gave back, this past year, we gave back $6,749 at the end of the year. But if you remember mid-year, we got appropriations for $10,000 for fuel and gas. So we actually, for last year with full staff and no gaps,
Used it all.
it was the first time we used it all plus.
Yeah, that, go back.
So I'm not saying there's not,
Right.
it just, it's.
Well, like you were saying, if we gotta get somebody in,
But I think
we're gonna have to go back.
So what areas where you're, you're over the
Just
year
have to go back
before,
to the
where
council,
your
right,
expense is greater than the year
Go from
before?
there.
Right. Right, and maybe,
If they
I
don't,
have
you
to-
just
I've got
hire
it all.
whoever it is,
This is
wait till
like
next year and then
Just
just
want to go.
well,
and put it in the budget.
I guess I'd encourage you, Ryan, to take a look and just, you know, we don't want you running in red, but if there is anything that we can sweeten the pot with, I think it would be good for us to do that.
Absolutely. And I mean, that's, again, budget time, it makes it easy. That's just a.
right,
It's
so
not
we
like
could have
we're
that
adding
number.
50,000.
So you just put 12,000 plus,
Open
Up
check.
in the posting,
at least they give them a ballpark-ish
Right.
figure
12 plus,
where.
based on experience or,
I don't put any criteria there.
no,
Be,
Yeah.
12 plus,
I think I would just,
I put whatever you tell me.
yeah.
12 plus.
Man, just see if we can, somebody to bite.
Yeah, I think most of the people that's gonna come in is gonna be people who's already aware. Last time, I believe it was Kyle Morris and Adriana, was the three. And that's, I mean, they were all local.
We got any new people on the block in Marion? New attorneys trying to get started?
So we'll find out.
I tell you, this government side, attorney, different than this attorney coming straight out of school. Unless they've got a serious political background in their portfolio of classes that they took.
Right.
Um,
That's,
This is a different animal than,
It's just,
than suing, someone or creating a will or whatever that is. This is some deep things with IC codes, everything that they
that's
gotta
my
know.
fear. It's gonna be a sit down and go, okay, now read this code and read
Yeah.
this code. No, we're not thing.
Yeah.
Until they get that background.
Yeah.
yeah, they
I
may,
mean, I've been doing it for over 15 years at this point, and there's still stuff that comes up. I think, where the heck did that come from? Knowing I've already read it 100 times.
okay, so any other more discussion on attorneys? Good,
And everybody's comfortable with putting that out, correct?
and then we'll report back and say this is the game plan. that I've interviewed.
If we're not getting any hits at that 12,000, are we able to retract that, change it, repost it midway or anything? I mean, we gotta get resumes in one way or the other, you know? So if we wait until the full deadline that we have here, I'm afraid we're gonna be too far, you know, into March, you know, to do something with it by the end of March.
Well, I mean, if the council works with us, I mean, we've
We
got.
might put something on the next council meeting
Yeah.
and come in and see if they will, in case we need more money for it. I can't speak for all of them, but I can't see them not.
Right. Just give them a heads up that we're out, interviewing and our budget there, our appropriations for that line item probably need to change.
But is it public record what everyone else pays for lawyers? It is, isn't it?
Yeah.
The other departments?
Yeah, when
So maybe just get through the building and get an idea of what everyone else is,
you mean other surrounding counties, what they're paying?
no, just in the building. I mean, are we paying 12,000 and the health department's paying 22?
Oh,
I mean, I don't know that. I'm just saying,
yeah.
it's just something we've left in the budget, never messed with. But it's always been okay where it's set at, and the lawyers never complained, that's not enough.
Oh, well, yeah, I mean, should be a line item.
In my two budgets, I haven't moved it or changed it or anything, but I've never had a lawyer say,
I need more.
hey, you know, can you jump that 2,000?
Yeah, I probably need to play catch up. It's been like that forever.
You know, I don't remember a line item in our budget that was lawyers by themselves.
But usually.
It's in the,
legal
goes for that
services.
department and then, you know, it's in their budget,
Right.
but we never see it in ours when we do it.
So is that listed legal?
And be legal services.
Legal.
So you just hired a new guy, I'm not even sure, on the council, right? Kind of town council.
Yeah, because you had to replace,
Yeah.
Yeah,
So, yeah, you negotiated a price with him, or,
yeah.
so, yeah, it may or may not have been what you originally had planned, so who knows? That'd be the same thing here.
you know how much that,
No, I really don't know what he gets paid, to be real truthful. He'd be the only one, he'd be in our council budget, that's where it'd be at.
We're paying our attorney in Upland 30,000 a year,
Dang.
you know? So, and it jumped from, I think it was 12 or 13,000, so.
Well, it all depends on the amount of work they're doing, too. If they're doing a lot of redevelopment,
We
what
got
they're
a
doing
lot
down there.
starting to take off, so she is busy, but same, it's 30 grand, so it's what we're paying.
They were around 12 this week, sir. But we don't generally have much going on, but you guys have some, a lot of different fires in the,
It's
Projects
starting to
are
really take off, yeah.
good. Good.
I'm trying to piggyback off Gas City, we have to.
Well, if you don't, they're gonna come and take the old.
I say, if you don't start
They're
building,
gonna start.
building less, they're gonna do it on your doorstep.
Your problem is that up there at the railroad track.
all right.
Bridge,
Yeah,
it's getting phased out next year.
they're gonna do away with
The
the bridge.
state's gonna use it, as supposed to, we'll see.
They'll make it, they're just gonna make it level.
It's last, that's what we heard last time, it's state.
All right. So the comprehensive plan, which was brought up at the last meeting too, it's woefully outdated. I actually tried to skim read through it. And believe it or not, I don't know how back in 1997, they projected a major population increase in the county. We know that did not happen. So I don't know where they got their information, but so we definitely need to work on that, reading through it. I don't know if anybody's actually read the comprehensive plan with that. You can't find it online. Then county, go to this, to, area plan and drop down menu and there'll be the comprehensive plan will be actually there. Is that the whole plan? Cause it seemed like it stopped halfway through.
Yeah, that's,
That's the whole plan. It's
That'd
about
be 40,
some pages.
Randy and I talked about that. It was 44 or 45, Randy, somewhere around their pages. I read through it. I think Randy did as well.
So a lot of it just talks about general history, topography, and different things. So that's just maybe a vision of where we're at, where we want to go. So that's what we're looking at. And I guess the other nasty thing would be the area-wide zoning. That's something that's gonna be even more.
That's-
Because
According,
that ties into that, definitely.
okay, yeah, so you're basically, the way your planning goes, state says you've got to have a comprehensive plan to have an area-wide zoning. ordinance. To have an area-wide zoning ordinance will allow you to have an area plan commission. Having an area plan commission allows you to have a board of zoning.
Okay, so that's the chain of command.
It all starts with a
All
comprehensive plan.
Okay.
So that's why even in the code, it goes in that order.
Full education there, guys.
You know, I think
Comprehensive plan to area-wide zoning ordinance to,
Having
That creates,
establishing a comprehensive plan allows you to have an area-wide zoning. Having an area-wide zoning ordinance allows you to have an area plan for us, an area plan commission. By establishing an area plan commission allows you to have a board of zoning.
And I think you did a study around Grant County of other counties who's had their comprehensive plan.
Yeah, I've got a list of directors, two counties wide around us. I just gotta start making phone calls.
Yeah.
It was suggested to get a hold of them. Well, I think I sent out when everyone had theirs done.
That's what I'm talking
Yeah.
about.
But I haven't actually called and talked to them yet.
see what they did, if they did it in-house, hired it out, because that's one thing we thought, well, just talking about how strapped they are, they're not gonna be able to efficiently do it in-house.
So
I don't think we're gonna be able, and there's technical stuff in there, so we hire it out or find help or combinations thereof.
So Howard County, I think they did theirs in 2005. Every other county, it was 2015 or newer,
Okay.
and we're setting at 1997. I mean, that's kind of why I wrote it. As I started going, I thought, oh, so I just started writing it down so we could really get an idea of just how, where we are.
So a lot of that needs to be updated with information in there or maybe there's, well, that's 20, 30 years old. Maybe we need to gather in some other counties and read it and see what they're actually putting in theirs.
So I figured I would try to get a hold of some of the other directors
Newer ones.
and who'd you use, did you like them, about what it cost you? And maybe just start getting us some names,
Okay.
have some people out there.
Yeah, because it is, I mean, this is setting up our future.
Right.
And to me, our future hadn't been looked at since 1997.
And
We've had no target to hit, we've had no, and really nobody paying any attention to even that. So, you know, where are we heading? What do we need to do? Where do we need to put the thumb in the dike? Losing 22,000 people in 25 years, I think is a concern. So I know possibly we'll have to come to the county council and ask for more money to do a comprehensive plan if we hire that out, which I think we're gonna have to.
We've had it looked at a couple times.
That's correct.
It's been, what, about 12 years ago?
Yeah, and my understanding is that, and according to Mr. Bothwell, it was looked at, but it was never enacted on anything. And really, I don't know if it was ever shared with any of the members of the
It was never, it was probably never added to the documentation or else.
CFM was never recorded any of it. We went through all the file cabinets.
So even at that, that's still 12 years old.
All I've been able to find, this is what Larry Strange had put together. Some of it, but it never left the office.
Well, I have a question. A lot of the population and the businesses left was in the city limits. I know the county can oversee some of that, but it looks like the city would be interested in doing something too. And they need to work together.
Right. So we need to be in partnership up some.
And so they do have a comprehensive plan that Lisa Dunstan did, which my understanding is top notch, like top notch.
Upland has went through and did a master plan themselves.
And I'm with you.
Yeah,
If
I
we
don't
could-
see us carrying the whole
Yeah,
load.
if we could, you know, we partner or collaborate, imagine that.
So they
with
give a call for us to not only collaborate with everyone within county, but all surrounding counties too. So we'll gather all master plans within the county, but also let everyone else know what we're doing. It's, if you get into the planning association stuff, Randy, I know you've got a copy of that. It talks about comprehensive plan and steps, says it should be about a 6-month review. So our rules of procedure should take about 2 months to review and get done. Comprehensive plan should take about 6 months to review and get done. The area-wide zoning ordinance should take about a year. That's what, according to the,
If you keep on it.
Right.
You don't, yeah,
Well, does that include the city limits too in that?
yeah, we've got, area plan represents 55% of Grant County. So the other 45% is Marion, Gas City, Swayze, and Falmouth.
Brian, you're aware of the Area Planning Association, Chapter 7, where it's comprehensive. Chapter 8, where they're strongly encouraging public participation in it.
oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, this is not,
That's the point. This is not something I can sit at my desk and write.
Right.
right.
It's not something that the 13 members of the board can sit
No.
and write.
A lot of it's technical. They're at populations, past, present, projected,
It would include
incomes and.
town hall meetings in all towns.
Yeah.
All
Oh,
towns.
yeah, that's a-
Improvement, colleges and schools.
Schools has got
Utilities,
a portion in that as well.
roads,
Yeah.
roads.
Chapter 8 says the comprehensive plan must include significant public participation and review. And they're strongly encouraging having citizen committees on it in order to, get their input.
You think
Right.
our
I
don't know how you can hire that out.
That's where you hire.
You know, you hire somebody to facilitate it.
Right.
Because I can remember, I moved up here in 95, Sweetser. And I think shortly thereafter, we got a letter in the mail filling out needs a Sweetser. We had to put it in a box, drop it off at town hall. And I think that was part of the survey process of getting what the suites are like, One was, we'd love to have a library, but we collaborate with Converse, and now you can use Converse Library, then you pay a sewer bill. We pay them X number of dollars a year. Like a park. Well, now we have the Sweetser Switch Trail. So, we have advanced in some, but then other things, our business is just dying. So, yes.
Thanks to the internet.
a lot of-
You get your phone out, you order what you want, and it shows up on your door the next day. And we don't have no businesses that's local anymore.
So those are things to look,
Yes.
what businesses or types of businesses that are still out there that hopefully would be attracted.
Libraries or museums now,
Or, yeah,
Because
I can't
you-
see.
you
Yeah,
know.
Everything's.
Yeah.
Is there a canned procedure process that we can get our
What do
hands
you
on?
do?
Step by
He's
step.
got, Indiana Code has they've got a chapter on the comprehensive plan, then your planning association has a chapter also.
on the steps.
That kind of outlines, but, again, it's, how many, an area plan is unincorporated plus one municipality, we've got 6. So a couple, like I said, Jonesboro Upland have master plans already. Sweetser, have you guys done?
I doubt it. So I've never dealt with one.
So there's not a guide package that we can purchase to take us through it.
Not that I've seen. Most of what I'm seeing is done by Baker Tilly, done by. It's not something that's, and I think we've got some people, one of the things that we had talked about earlier that I was thinking about, I don't know how you guys feel about Eckerly, but Tim Eckerly retired. Maybe something he'd love to have. Well, economic.
He has a bunch of
I
connections.
know some people like him, some people don't, but I thought there'd be somebody who could have.
And some of the legwork, maybe I got you, or.
When you talk to these other counties, if you might ask them if they become tile
That out, bro.
some, what I'm saying? Be like a curriculum to a teacher, that's gonna
Right.
follow this, we're gonna accomplish this step by step by step by step.
Right.
I think
By the time I get done, I'll have one more.
I think that's the reason. There are people out there that you can hire to do.
Right, they
comprehensive
know.
Plans, and they know.
they know, they don't, why should we try to
reinvent the wheel.
Reinvent the wheel, absolutely.
And again, I don't know what that costs. I have no idea.
I was gonna say that's where we're-
And
That's gonna be the next
everyone,
thing.
literally, everyone but Howard County around us
We
has
need to.
done it
I
since
can
two
get
thousand
the
fifteen.
information that we had.
Their comprehensive plans for 2015 are in.
Go through it.
So if the towns are gonna be part of it, are they gonna kick in
How we're gonna reconstruct that.
and help financially?
I can bring it back in next time.
I think the counties would say that's part of being part of the area plan. But there are,
Well, that's probably where it would
What
need
we
to
need to
be.
do.
I would bet if there's organizations out there to be a part of it.
It needs to be
Happy, like,
overseen.
like
I would say, I don't care where it goes and who does it, I think it needs to be the commission. I hire somebody to do this and get it done.
But the thing,
You have to get some
again,
key business
I'm good
people.
with that.
We're trying to carry.
It's not gonna be 5, 10 people.
And I
Health department.
I can tell you right now, you're gonna be looking at probably close to $50,000,
Oh,
if you can even get it done for 50,000.
Yeah.
Yep.
But you gotta know where you're at, where you wanna go.
We need to budget somewhere between 50 and.
And then, and really, let's look at that, it may be, if we get something by midsummer, early summer,
It just goes back to
it'd be 25 in 1 year, 25 in another year.
Let's have another.
You know, anybody's hired it out? You know, any other counties that's hired it out?
Almost all of us. I said,
Almost
as
all of them?
as I was going around county to county getting directors' names and comprehensive plans, their comprehensive plans all say like done by,
Would they tell you how much it costs?
that's what I'll find out. I talked to a bunch of them about different, so a lot of them I know, I just haven't talked to them about this.
Takes quite some time getting it put together. I
Yeah.
mean, just for ours, it took like 6 or 7 months to get it together. So.
So we don't want, so like I said, we gotta, so we need to do a lot of, figure out pricing. What that entails, what other counties will pay, maybe, find out who out there does it. Now that the firm that did City of Marion might be, they have half the work done, kind of. As far as like the,
At least looking at that, but I agree. I mean, if we can get some of these smaller towns that's got one, let's take a look and see how that's, but again, I still think we need a consultant
Yep.
to come in and work with us on that, or Tilly or whoever that is. Somebody needs to.
well, somebody that's got a job 24/7 to get the process done. We meet once a month. We, the office can't handle that.
Right.
The amount of involvement, because it's not just area plan. There's many subdivisions of it.
Yep.
Between the highway department, health department, business, schools, fire departments.
Yep.
All that assets within the county, that's,
You got drain.
yeah.
And the kicker is, every decision that you make, commissioners make, council makes, based off the comprehensive.
It should be.
Should be.
Every decision the BCA makes is based off the ordinance.
And when we do this, county's gonna pick up the whole bill for you and the city will use it. Because they're gonna be included into it when they check everything on that comprehensive. Because it'll take into care of city limits as well as the county.
Right.
And this one here, Marion was with us.
At that
Was
time, they were part, yeah, they were a member.
Is Gas City in? Yes.
They annexed it out of it. Yeah. This was Fairmount, Jonesboro, Marion, Matthews, Sweetser, Plain, and Van Buren.
Okay.
I think it was Henry that pulled Marion out of area plan.
Or is it?
So that might be a question I'd like to ask Howard County. Is Kokomo part of it? Did they participate? Are they part of the city, part of the area plan for the county? Or your bigger towns, or are we just an oddball here with all these broke up ones?
Well, I think most of them are like this. They've got a list of
Okay,
municipalities.
so the members that are, communities that are.
Right.
Okay. So basically, we need to find out info, and we'll feedback, and eventually we'll present our needs and go ask for money. Next on my little tidbit was rules and procedures, which I know Mr. Boswell was working on at Boswell, was working on it. You have not seen any of his finished work or anything like that, Brian? I don't want to reinvent the wheel, but we probably need to email him or something and see if he can get whatever he has in hand turned in, so we can get it out to us, I guess. And at least see what's there. Or do we want to look, he had, I know a couple of people were on the group, are no longer on APC as far as who was helping me.
It was Dr. Bothwell, Lois,
Lois, but, you know,
Rex, and me. Never included me and Lois. We found out that we own the ABC.
right, with Lois, right?
So, I mean, I've done it myself, probably about 75% done.
What you
Because
see
we're
that-
at 16 months at this point, so I just kept going on it.
Okay, so you've done your looking at it, what you think needs to change. We need to see what Bothwell recommends and kind of marries them together to see what's there.
Well, I mean, that's, with mine, like we talked about, going with code, a lot of mine is code, identified to code. But the bigger thing is going to be rules and procedures to local ordinance, to state code, making sure that all three.
They all
are the same.
connect right, they all match.
So I don't know if Dr. Bothwell and Rex did that as they were doing it. Because one of the things you guys, like even with the BZA has their rules of procedure, but the area-wide zoning ordinance goes through APC. They're trying to make sure that their rules meet meet the state code. That's 26 pages we come up with to get all three to meet. The area plan, and remember, the BZA is one chapter out of 15. See, I imagine it's gonna be much larger. As far as text amendments to get everything to the same.
As far as looking into it, getting down to our 10
Because
pages.
my best example is with the BZA, special exceptions. In the Indiana code, special exceptions have 0 questions. The rules of procedure, special exceptions have 6 questions to be answered. And the area-wide zoning ordinance, there are 3 questions to be answered.
So they don't fish.
So we've got 0 questions, 6 questions, and 3 questions.
The same questions?
And so,
So I guess struggling with, why do we deviate state codes? Is there a reason? I mean, is there something that, because again, I think that's what's causing a lot of issues.
we had back in 2007, and this is one of the biggest things to get into this. Our ordinance right now is not legal. We have the last adopted ordinance, and I got all this stuff from the state.
Last adopted ordinance for
The last adopted area-wide ordinance
area-wide ordinance.
is 13-07.
So,
State adopted that, December 2007. This ordinance that we have published is 14-07. And we voted it in November, a month before 13. This has never been sent to the state. This has, and you guys have been here for a bit, this had that Jonesboro and Matthews could sign a waiver and not have to get building inspections. But there's no jurisdiction in the state that can pass on getting code inspections. A lot of stuff got added into here. Kyle and I sat down, my first month I become director. We went through 13-07, 14-07 in the state code. We spent 15 minutes and Kyle just said, tell me where we're starting. There's that many differences. So I've asked the state, hey, what's our valid ordinance? I've got all that documentation here that they gave me. The fact that we have to follow state code, we have to be at minimum equal to, then with approval from the state.
so do we need to be working on that as well? And
Well, that's next year's, comp plan was this year's goal. This is next year's goal. And when we get done with this, we've got our zoning maps, our land use tables that we've got to completely get through. And we're years behind. Like, you hear me say it over and over. I mean, I'm not, I get so, I'll start getting, we got lots of it. So, you know, like rules of procedure is supposed to take 2 months to get it done. We're at 16 months right now. Just frustrating.
So do we, trying to figure out, and again, and deciding this particular meeting, but do we need to have more meetings a month? Start working through some of this stuff?
Well, I mean, we can have committees. We can have
Well, yeah.
committees. We can have, I mean, I'm more willing to, you want to meet twice a month and just we'll knock section by section out. But we also have to, I mean, in doing that, we're bringing it back to the APC. And we've got to review it with the APC and get it passed and get it recorded. Right now, we can't, with our meetings, we're going 3 hours and not talking about Grant County at all. We've got, you know, text amendments sitting in front of us that we're jumping over because we're just running out of time. You know, you guys have heard me say director's report. Director's report is generally the top 30 to 50 things going on in Grant County every month that you're responsible for, that we're dealing with. We haven't talked about it for 10 months. So, you know, I'd love to dive in and get into it. If we
So-
don't get anywhere.
Should that, the area-wide zoning, should that go through the whole thing and just present it all at once, or bit by chapter, or section by section, and update it?
Well, I mean, we can do something, however we want to do.
How long meetings do you want?
Well, that's where you have a committee of a couple of people coming into the office and going through and saying,
Yeah. But it goes back to what Randy was saying, I mean, you know, because, I'll say it, because of the distrust, nobody wants to allow a committee to happen like that because they're afraid something's gonna be written in there that somebody else would disagree with. And I think Mr. Bothwell coined that pretty well in that meeting. Last meeting. So that's the problem we're having on this, and we really need to be working on things such as what Ryan has put out there and stuff like that, instead of and I mean, I know this is all built around solar, but that's what's really killed us this last whole year, I think. And then before I got on here, before Randy got on here, I mean, it's one of those things where they were having an attendance problem, where they wouldn't even have a quorum, right?
Right.
But once we got going on all this, now we got everybody coming, which is great. I think it's wonderful, because that's what we need to be doing. But I don't know. I don't know if this board would stand for committees. I don't know. What's your take?
Well, number one, you gotta get somebody that's willing to serve on the committee.
right,
You know, that's the problem. It's not like.
Put everybody right here on the committee.
That's right. That's right.
yeah.
So,
3 or 5 of us.
and I think depending on what the task at hand is, regard that you're gonna assign a committee, would depend on where that mistrust thing plays into it. I think there are some things that could be done that wouldn't necessarily be subject to the mistrust that's out there. And, you know, as far as the mistrust goes, Steve, it's unfortunate that the county has rolled out the way that it's rolled out with the commissioners. You know, the fact that Ron left before he did, when he was involved in it, the fact that you came into it, you know, halfway through the deal, when the problem controversy was already there. I mean, you stepped into the fire. You know, the fact that Mark wouldn't talk to the people about it, you know, he didn't think he needed to, he heard it before. You know, I understand that, but if we would have been given some rationale for why he was doing what he was doing, if he'd have just shared with the people at all, I think the amount of trust would have been greater than what it is today. Just the fact that we sat there in commissioners meetings and we heard no feedback whatsoever, you know, that like, okay. You know, I mean, you start to wonder what's going on if that's taking place. Why aren't we hearing what you're thinking? Because we all understand that the final stamp on it is the legislative branch. You know, tell us, you know, no negotiation whatsoever. Were there some things that went wrong with it? Yeah. Did I feel like we got caught with the Senate Bill 411 deadline absolutely. You know, I wish we'd never known anything about that. Ryan was doing his job by letting us know that it was there. You know, because I think we could have worked through the process without the pressure, you know, throwing this draft 7 out there, which appeared to be the, you know, the consensus of the people, because it had some things in there. I mean, I think we could have negotiated some things in it that would have made it more appealing to both sides rather than, you know, we're giving you this one and we're giving you that one and,
Yeah.
you know, that went south,
It didn't.
you know, and now we're trying to heal from the damage that was done, you know, and I can only hope that at some point, you know, there can be some compromise on it. Now, do I think that we could do some things on committee? Yeah, I think we could if you get the people to do it.
Okay.
It's not the issue with solar that we gotta deal with, it's getting the people that are gonna commit the time.
The time, because this one takes the time.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, Ryan's doing a great job with what he's trying to do here. Let me make sure I understand this. With the rules of procedure, what you're trying to do is you're trying to align the Indiana code with our county code, correct?
With the rules.
With the
Rules
rules,
of procedure.
with the rules and procedures. And you're doing that under the same format that you did the ordinances where you're showing us what it is and you're, I don't know how you're doing that. You're telling me you've done a lot of work on it, but I don't know that I understand how you're putting that
I'll
together.
show you.
Okay,
So you're doing, we've not seen any of this. We haven't seen Mr.
we haven't seen any of it.
We have not seen any of it.
But like I said, it's been 16 months.
We've not seen
So I
it.
took the workbook and kept working just to try to get it done. BCA I've got done.
Right, I've
But
seen BZA.
Ed's not gonna use it.
Well, he's gonna use some of
He
it.
had me take it off the agenda. He doesn't want to discuss my version. Is what it is. But I've done the same thing with the ABC.
Well, it's my understanding that they met, I wasn't there, but it's my understanding that met, they kind of reviewed what you had, and I think there's some of it. I mean, I think it'd be foolish not to use some of it.
Well, again, almost everything I put in there is to Indiana code.
Okay,
So a lot of the changes that I put in is BZA or APC as opposed to the unit. I didn't go in and say, you know what, let's do this setback in 80 feet instead of 20. None of that. I mean, I just basically, here's what we've got, here's what's code. Let's make
This is
it
what, what it ought to read.
Yeah, so if you're reading through it, I mean, basically, you can see it. Obviously, when we present it, I'll give it to everyone, but I mean, red is what would be new.
Red is what?
Would be new.
So all the black is the previous or current.
Right.
and that's based on Indiana code, what's in red.
Every one of them with the code too.
Okay,
So I think that's one of the mistakes we made was not doing that before on a lot of stuff.
Is wrote it
Which
in
made
there
for a lot of-
reference.
Oh, it's in here. And finding which code was what. So now, I mean, we have got that on almost everything. So it goes directly to the code. If the code isn't in whole, here, it's referenced to.
What we're.
and how far along are you?
I am- I'd say I'm at least 50%.
Okay.
Close to it.
That's just working part-time, right?
Yeah, that's if I've got an hour and, what do I want to get started on? I've got this, I've worked on this a little bit as far as administrative parts of it.
So I don't know if we did what Mr. Boswell's looking at and
And I'm hoping
read
most
it.
of it's pretty close.
Well, I would imagine it should be. I mean, because I don't know, he may not have the codes cited or whatever, so we need to make sure and things like that. So if we get his copy in, get what you've been working on and see if there's some,
Do we know Bob would continue?
He said he said they had theirs done in July. He wasn't sure why they hadn't turned it in yet. So he said to me,
I think we need to ask him to,
well, I think maybe I need to email him, or I don't know if email out of the office. If he can get it to you so you can make copies and hand out at the next meeting.
I can do that.
we can get. I
And
think
yeah, I just want
that
to
way,
see how he's compared to code. I mean,
right, and get
He's
his,
got all three.
because that committee, that was committee working on that, and see, we'll see what it is. And,
Yeah, I'd
And
ask
then
that
we can
committee to
compare.
come back together with what Ryan's done, what they've done, and
you know,
let them, let's go. I mean, that committee's there. Yeah.
Well, some of
I
it's
asked
as
Ed,
low as.
I asked Ed flat out, I said, Ed, we could have this done in a night, let's get it done. He had responded and said it, so that is what it is.
But that's the BZA. We're talking about APC.
I know.
We got our own problems, don't we?
Okay,
Okay, but I'm,
Okay,
I'm with you. I hear you.
so you're comfortable or send an email to Bob
Yeah.
and see if he can get that stuff so we can. But we need to move on this.
Yes,
We need to get it, whether we use his or Con or mesh them together or what have you. And if we need to form another committee, because Lois was part of that originally, right? She's not here. So we may just see who else might need to do it, Bob, Rex, and maybe one other person. I don't know if I'm supposed to be standing in all committees to start.
Yeah, you are, Chuck. Come on, President.
So we may just have to gather up and.
I think for this, I think if I can get this finished, and I'm probably a day or two free time away from
Right.
it, and then get it in front of some other eyes just to peruse, I think we can have it knocked out quick.
Right. So this basically readopts it, and be updating our rules of procedure, readopting the new version.
Now, let's talk about your area-wide ordinance. What, help me, I don't know what that is.
This is all the,
On the land
this
based
is your
on,
subdivision, this is what the commissioners adopted as law.
and who created that?
This one was created in 2007 by Area Plan Commission, adopted by the commissioners and all the municipalities.
So those are the rules we live by.
Correct.
so the APC came up with that.
Yeah.
Is that correct?
Connie's the one who did it.
Who did it?
Tanya,
Tanya.
she is
A few back.
4 or 5 directors back. 2007 is when she did it.
And we don't know if that's technically legal because, so when it's approved, we gotta send it to the state, do they have it on record? Or something to that
They
effect?
sent me, what I got in here is too big, but what they sent me back was like, that 1307 was like that.
So where is the information that's in there gathered from? What's its source?
Supposed to be based off of Indiana code,
Okay,
but you've got floodplain management, you've got your subdivisions in here, you've got all your building codes.
Building street standards.
Yeah, I
all
mean,
that.
all zoning, land use tables, this is everything.
that is
Your rules of
driven
procedure,
by Indiana code?
supposed to be, this is supposed to be at minimum equal to. It can be greater than with approval. The state's never seen this, but this has been published and enforced since 2007.
And the state's supposed to sign off on it?
And
There's
pursuant
no
to this-
consequence if they don't? Obviously not.
They got other.
I talked to them, and they're the same thing unless challenged, unless they get another 1,000 employees, they don't have time.
Just like
There's
us.
some jurisdictions that don't even have a area,
So what's in there
But
that
this is
wouldn't
what
apply
we take.
today?
Huh?
What's in there that wouldn't apply today?
How much time you got?
Well, I mean, I'm just trying to
If
get,
you wanna go,
just give me an example.
a good one to go through is your exceptions. What has exceptions to permits? Area plan is 6 foot, state 7 foot. Exemptions to pool permits. State says anything over 24 inches tall requires a permit. We say anything over 4 foot tall requires a permit.
So how often does the state change that?
The Indiana code, residential code comes out every 3 years and it's for the state to adopt.
See, in the school business, the state used to give us changes to Indiana code, we'd stick it in our book.
Yeah, so they'll do amendments to it. So every 3 years, they'll either adopt a new ordinance or do amendments to it.
And we send that, and they will send you that change?
Well, they send it, it's on the website and they send it through our, like, This is the zoning. I don't, if I have my code books in here, those are the changes they said for building codes.
And you insert them in the new book when you get them?
For building codes, yeah, not for this.
They don't.
For this, I mean, if they change something in subdivisions, if they change, anything in local government, basically, those go into effect July 1st. They get published in September. And in September, I can go through and look at what changes have been made within the codes within the year. I haven't done it yet because we're just so far behind.
Okay.
Or I'd be sitting here with 20 text amendments every meeting for you guys.
Now, am I wrong to think that that would be a continual update of that particular thing based on what the state is giving us in their changes?
In some sections, again, like building codes is every 3 years. The rest of it may be every year. So planning zoning may be every year, where your building sections are every 3 years. Floodplain is based off of DNR.
Okay,
So
so I guess,
we're hitting the whole building inspection, zoning, planning, floodplain, unsafe structures, and code enforcement.
I guess what I'm thinking, if that's driven by Indiana code, then what discretionary decisions do we have to make about
Yep,
it? None.
you just gotta put it in the code.
That's the drum I banged as soon as I.
Right, and so if our adopted one is not matching state, it needs to change.
Right.
Unless we vote to make it more restrictive.
We're gonna challenge
No,
it.
I wouldn't think,
Okay,
I wouldn't think.
so Ryan, what's the solution to that?
Pick a spot. It's gonna be the same thing. I mean, it's gonna be getting through it. Yeah, I figured right now, what I've been playing with is the building section of it.
Right.
But I know I've got 3 years, so if I can get a little bit done here, a little bit done there,
But that's probably more of an in-house thing
yeah. Again, that's
with
why
the time.
it's 2:30 on a Friday. I don't wanna get something major started. You know what? I think I'll
Do a page of this.
So again, to write this is a year project, according to IPA. So again, that's where I looked at, rules should be 2 months. Comp plan should take about 6. Gotta have this to have this. This should take a year. So it was kind of, year 1 was employee, year 2 was software, year 3, year 4. And then year 5 is, half of the public hearings we're having right now is because of land use tables or improper zoning maps.
Yeah.
It's just like the one we've got out here for the rezone. Everything's R1 except for one
Yeah,
plot of agriculture.
so we go through the maps, say, why is that like that? We need to get
That's literally half of your public hearings are because the zoning maps make no sense. It's the mobile home parks that are marked industrial. Mobile home park's been there 60 years, but the zoning wouldn't allow a mobile home to be placed there. We've got it throughout the county.
Now, how much of that can go to the BZ as a special exception? It doesn't necessarily have to fall into a zoning thing.
It's kind of the same thing. It's your land use maps is what determines what comes to the BZA. So sometimes they'll have to rezone to get it to a special exception.
Because I know there seems to be some concern in regard to spot zoning. But it's my understanding that if there was a decision not to spot zone, then it could go to the BZA as a special exception.
If allowed,
Who gives a discretionary allowance?
the land use table. If whatever you've got. Okay. Land use table.
Yep,
Let's say art and music schools, okay? Art and music schools is right here. And let's say, it's a bad one because they're all marked. We go to the next one. Auction sales yard excluding livestock. Okay? So it is allowed by special exception in ag, and residential suburban, also in local business, and it's allowed by right in general business and all industrial. Okay? Here, the X means it's allowed by right, the S means it's allowed by special exception. If there is nothing in the box, it means it is not allowed. So the only way for me to do that business, let's say in an R4 where it's not allowed, is to rezone that R4 to something that is allowed.
Special exception.
So let's say I want to take R4 and I want to rezone it to residential suburban. But that's close, like use. If I can get it to residential suburban through the APC, now I can file for a special exception to the BCA. But I can't do it here because it's not allowed at all.
When you get these requests, do you go through that
Yes.
procedure to see what is best fit
Yep.
for that?
Yep.
Okay,
And we've got the NAICS that we can put it in and it will break it down to almost exactly what we have. So
Okay.
that tells us exactly where it goes on. Now, NAICS has been around.
Okay.
For
I don't know anything, guys. Well, that's one question.
No.
Hey, this is educational too. And this is how big of an issue and problem we got that we need to try to stay on task. So that's all I have basically in the open meeting unless yeah, I kind of read it. Do we want to wrap up this here for now and go on to the, okay, so we'll close this one. Nobody's on.
I'll turn it off.
Okay,
That's gonna record executive session.
right. So I'll have Brian stay here for the first part, and then he's gonna leave on the second part.
Stop her.
So.